It's Lucy Litch, and this is Tiny House Conversations. It's the Australian-based podcast where I interview experienced tiny houses, tiny builders, and adventurers in the tiny world so you can discover how to create, build, and transition into tiny life. Before we get into today's Tiny House conversation, I want to tell you about something exciting coming up in November 2022. It's a free 3-day online Tiny House Summit created by Ethan Waldman, the host of the Tiny House Lifestyle podcast and author of the guide Tiny House Decisions. Ethan was a guest on my show in episode 25, as well as featured in episode 26. And guess what? I'm going to be a guest speaker at the summit, talking with Ethan all about tiny houses in Australia. The summit will also feature many different tiny house folks from around the world talking about all the different topics you want to know more about, including composting toilets, trailers, solar systems, tiny house design, building science, renting out your tiny house for short and long-term stays, how to get out of debt and start saving for a tiny house, and plenty more. So if you're a curious tiny houser who's deciding if this way of life is for you and you want to learn more about tiny houses, or if you're already a tiny houser and you love being part of as many tiny house events as you can, I'd love to see you there. To register for the summit for free and reserve your space, just head over to tinyhousesummit.co. That's tinyhousesummit.co or .co. I can't wait to see you there. Now on to the show. Welcome back to Tiny House Conversations. On the show today, I'm speaking with Zeisha and Bronson. They're the creators and hosts of Find the Perfect Place, a YouTube series where they feature gorgeous homes of all shapes and sizes. They understand the perfect place is different for everyone, and their mission is to showcase variety, uniqueness, and beauty within all. The idea to find the perfect place is one which resonates with us all. The desire and constant search for perfection, whilst coming to terms that there is also great beauty in imperfection. They hope you come along for the ride and enjoy the journey as they find the perfect place. And in this conversation, we talk all about finding the perfect place and the different tiny homes that Zeisha and Bronson have stayed in and some of their favourite features. We also talked about some of the challenges along the way of creating this series, what Bronson and Zeisha's perfect place looks like. They also tease some upcoming tiny home tours and so much more. So on to this tiny house conversation with Bronson and Zeisha. Zeisha and Bronson, welcome to Tiny House Conversations, and thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Really excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. And you guys are the creators and the hosts of the YouTube series Find the Perfect Place. And I'd love if you're able to start by just sharing a bit more about your background and what inspired you to create this series and what is it all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a little bit of extra time up our sleeve when it came to the little lockdowns and restrictions, and we were pondering, what things we want to do with our future, and we came to the realization, like pretty quickly, was that we love seeing new places, we love homes, we love tiny homes at that. And so we thought it would be cool to mix them all into one with creating a little bit of a YouTube series, Find the Perfect Place. The name didn't come so quickly though. We knew the idea, but we didn't know what we were going to call it. So we snowballed several different names, or a lot more than several, but yeah. And then we finally landed on Find the Perfect Place, and we think it resonates quite well. It's sort of about everyone's own individual unique journey and how the perfect place is different to everyone, basically. Wouldn't you say, Zeisha?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like finding, the magic in all different kinds of places and experiences and travels and things like that. So that's kind of what we really want to bring through in each episode and share the magic of each space.
Beautiful. And, just as we were talking offline before, I mentioned that I came across you guys in one of the Tiny House Facebook groups. And I know that you visit different kinds of homes and, whether it's tiny homes and then other types of places as well. And I'm just curious, what do you look for when you find the perfect place to stay? Like when you're going, okay, I want to go and stay here, or this place looks really great. Like what are the features that you look for?
There's so many elements and variations to what the perfect place can actually be. So we love featuring places from tiny homes all the way through to family homes and everything in between, or as far as the imagination can basically take us.
Very unique stays as well.
Yeah.
It really relates back to that whole part that Bronson said before about finding the uniqueness and how the perfect place is different to everyone. Just sharing the magic of each space, whether it be big or small or unique or really out of the ordinary or whatever it may be.
Yeah. The biggest thing for us is finding something that captures our attention, but also what our viewers would find interesting to learn about. So in terms of how the home was built, so how it's laid out, the interior design with the decor, everything you could basically imagine which goes into any individual home. It's very broad, I guess is the easiest way to put it. It's super broad, and we struggle to nail it down to one sentence, but I guess the easiest way is to say that we showcase everything from tiny homes to luxury living and everything in between that captures our eye.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys really are able to capture the essence of, like, I think I've watched like quite a few of your tours, and you really do feel you capture the essence of the home and the space. It's so much more than that as well. It's like I feel like you guys show the essence of like different experiences that people can have and what people can do with different designs and different interiors of homes as well. So it's really cool to just see like the different journey that you're going on as well, and you're kind of taking everyone along for the ride. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, they're so different. Each and every stay is so different from the next. And I mean, we've done a few tiny homes in particular, and each of them are so different and offer such, different experiences, which is really, really cool. And quite often, of course, the hosts and the people that have created these beautiful spaces, that's their passion project. They've put so much time, love, energy, effort. They've seen a vision in their mind and they've brought it to life. And then it's really cool to be, then come along with our passion, which is creating content, in particular video content, home tours, and kind of bring the two passions together almost. They've had their passion project, and then we come in and try our very best to, bring it to life, but then other people can experience it, as if they were there, but they're not, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Showcasing their home on a different medium that they might not have considered before.
For sure. I can really see that. And we mentioned already that you've stayed in a few different tiny homes and that they all are very different. So I know that there's like a tiny boathouse, and there was a shipping container and farm stays and all of that. So I'm wondering if you're able to just share like a little bit about your experiences and maybe what were some of your favorite features that you got to experience in each of those.
Every single home that we go into, they've all got something uniquely amazing about them, don't they? Like, for example, the tiny boathouse, like that was really, really cool.
It was an experience like no other. We were so surprised just to find it not so far from home for us here on the Gold Coast, and just to travel and positioned in a bamboo forest, and so much love and care had gone into creating a wonderful space for then the hosts to share on Airbnb so others can come and experience it. And then the container conversion was just so
on the
cool.
farm stay.
Because it's like you just think like once that was a container, just a metal shell, and then they've just put so much time and energy and care and converted it into this beautiful livable space with absolutely everything you need. Full-size appliances, probably one of the biggest kitchens that we've filmed, even though it was a tiny home.
It was massive.
It was just incredible to see what the owners had done with the space. And then the one on wheels was really cool as well, because it was so excluded. It was on, how many acres of property was that on?
That was Little Country Stays, and I think it was just under 400 acres of
farmland,
super private farmland. So we were sitting on top of a little hill in the middle of
nowhere. it was just really like an escape away just from absolutely everything. And that was also our first loft bedroom stay, which was quite cool. That kind of layout in a tiny home was very different, because the container stay, or the container conversion, that was a 40-foot container, whereas the one on wheels was much smaller and it had the bedroom up top, which, I don't know, there's something fun about that. It takes you back to being a child and kind of like you're in a little cubby house, which is really fun.
We never actually stayed in a tiny house before filming the series either. We'd always been interested in them and checking them out, and I guess this was our way to not only experience it for ourselves but also share that experience and the possibility of people are interested in these spaces or similar spaces with the world. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that just from like seeing what you guys do, as well as just talking to lots of different people, like there are so many people looking towards tiny life. Part of what I can see you guys offering is giving people a taste into that, and then maybe the next step is they can go and experience it for themselves in like a short-term Airbnb before, you know, jumping into it. Because I know that there's some people, like I guess myself, that are like, yeah, I definitely know like I could live in a small space. Others might be like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, is there going to be enough room, and am I going to be able to have, I mean, you just mentioned before, Zeisha, about like full-sized appliances. Am I going to be able to have the comforts of, you know, what I have now in my home currently? And so I think it's like there's something to be said for being able to experience it for a few days or a week or something like that, to see if, you know, it is something that people might be able to do long term. And it sounds like that's something that is giving you guys an insight into maybe what you want to do with tiny living in the future as well.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We've pinched ideas from every home we've stayed in, haven't we?
I think it's really worthwhile experiencing a tiny stay, even if it is, you know, temporary, such as a booking site, to experience it for a weekend or a week or whatever it may be. Because when I first saw tiny living, I really only thought of it from a financial perspective, and, you know, how amazing it would be to own a home outright and not have, you know, a mortgage kind of lingering over you for however many years. And that was very appealing to me at first. But then when I had the experience of actually staying in one for the first time, it really opened my eyes to the fact that there's actually so much more to gain from tiny living than just the financial benefits that it can come with. The feeling that I felt my first day, it was just like, wow, this is so incredibly peaceful. It's a really fantastic way to be connected with nature more, because, I don't know, it encourages you outdoors. Not that the space within the home is also beautiful, but just to have nature literally right on your doorstep, there's just something so incredibly peaceful about that. And then, yeah, gaining the perspective that you just don't need as much space as you really think you need, which is really quite cool. And I just love that aspect of it all as well, which took me by surprise, you know, when I first stayed in one. So I think it's an experience everyone should do at least once, even if it's just a stay or a holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't, as much as we'd like to say, everyone should move into a tiny home, the reality is it's not going to be for everyone. But if they can kind of, as you say, just have that short-term experience, get away out into nature with their family or on their own even, or with their partner or whatever it might be, I think that, you know, it's just such an enriching experience for the soul, I guess. And
yeah,
I think it was you, Bronson, in one of your episodes, I heard you say something like, you know, every home that you've stayed in, you've been able to try something new. So I'm curious, just maybe if you're able to share a little bit about some of those new experiences that you had.
One thing that pops into my mind straight away is the composting toilet.
Yeah, that's so true.
We'd never used one before. And we're like, oh, that seems interesting, when we're watching them on YouTube before we got into doing these episodes ourselves.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, this is actually really easy to use. We should just put one in our apartment if we can.
Yeah, not that we could.
Not that we could, but
yeah, we were very, very apprehensive about the composting toilets situation. But after experiencing it multiple times now, like there's really just, it's
better than a normal toilet, I'd say. Except
well, you feel better for the environment. It makes you kind of feel good that you're not wasting water.
Yeah,
totally.
And then on top of that, I guess we've been fortunate because we don't have to look after the other side of things.
Yeah, exactly. I guess our feedback from that, though, is, in particular for people that are looking even for just a small escape, but might be a little bit afraid of staying somewhere that offers a composting toilet. It's definitely not something that you should be afraid of. Once you've done it, you've done it. And from there, there's nothing more to really worry about, I don't think.
No, not at all. And another thing that was quite new to us, for us as a couple as well, was having regular fires.
Yeah, fire pits.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So yeah, toasting marshmallows, and obviously we everyone's done that stuff as a child. But did you do that as a child, Zeisha?
Yeah, every now and then.
Yes, but as adults, we never really did that. So that was quite cool to do that and experience that at each tiny home that we've stayed in so far. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess it comes back to that. Like it kind of pushes you to be outdoors as well more. And so like taking more time and all of that. So yeah, I love that. And I think you also mentioned as well, maybe the loft bedroom was a new experience as well. And I love that you mentioned the composting toilet, because I mean, even in the tiny house space, people that are looking towards maybe going tiny for themselves, it is probably one of the most commonly asked questions. And it's always about like, what's the best type? Does it smell? All of the things. I think that's like a hot topic of conversation. So I love that. And, I agree. I've experienced many different kinds now, just staying in different places, and I will be having one in my own tiny home very soon. And I think that, that environmental consciousness and the eco-friendly nature of not wasting so much water, and also being able to give back to the land and regenerate the land and all of that, and many other things too. I think that's like, there's something to be said for that for sure. And I would agree with what you guys say. It's not as bad as what it might sound like, and you do get used to it. And also, like, from my experience, and I don't know if you guys had the same experience as well, is like when people have those composting toilets, usually in somewhere that you go and stay, there's usually like a whole list of instructions, and they make sure that you know what to do, and then you kind of get used to it. And I'm curious as well, so just I guess about the process of going on these home tour adventures, has there been anything that's been unexpectedly challenging for you guys?
Ooh, again, it's like every
experience tends to come with a new challenge, but that usually comes down to technology or the gear or the weather.
Yeah, or the weather or unexpected, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah.
Just when we think that we're like, oh yeah, we understand, I don't know, for instance, the camera better, than the camera would randomly pop up with another little message, and we're like, oh, okay, now what does this one mean?
Yeah.
Or just little things that are really out of our control when it comes to our gear sometimes, which can add just a small level of stress when we're, trying to do each and every home, the justice that it deserves.
Yeah, and the time crunch, and then sometimes a little extra decorating to like set the stage a little bit more for more of a homely stay. So one thing that we love doing with our home tour episodes is just going that little step above, instead of just showing, I guess, the architecture and the layout of a home, but also trying to give people an insight or an idea or the essence of how they could decorate, or, doing those little lifestyle shots and detail shots of the decor or the building. Those sort of things we find helps to bring the space to life a little bit more, instead of just seeing a wide space, tiny space in this case, room of sorts, but actually get to see the little things that are in that room that make it unique and bring the personality to life that the hosts have put into each stay that they've created. So
sounds like it would be so much fun, and getting to kind of be super creative with the space and learning lots along the way. And I'm curious, maybe what has been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned from this project and from staying in each of these different places?
Expect the unexpected.
Yes.
And most of the time that is in a good light as well. Just going back to the composting toilet as an example, like personally, I was feeling quite worried about going to a stay and never having that experience before. And, you've got a few questions running through your mind. But then once you've done it once, you're like, oh, I was worried for no reason. That was a pleasant surprise as such. the things that you just don't even know are going to pop up, and yeah, just the experiences that it comes with, and all the little extras in each stay. Like a lot of the container conversion in particular, like they had animals on property, which was just, so special. And, that was just so much more than we could have ever expected. Like quite often you'll go to a stay, and especially with the tiny homes, because they're usually on such large amounts of land, you just get so much more than what you ever expect. Like it's so cool. It's a really, exciting adventure every time. And they're all so different.
And trying to encompass all of those great features of a stay is we basically push ourselves to a whole nother level. Every time we put an episode together, we put our physical bodies on the line and our mental spirits on the line, because it's like we want to make every episode the best we possibly can. We want to try and outdo ourselves every single shoot. And if there's any hiccups or speed bumps along the way, we always find a path through it, either over it, under it, or around it. We always find a way. And there's always those little moments where we're like in the middle of a shoot, or Zeisha might be in the editing room. It's like, how are we going to make this work? How is this going to come together? And we just got to stay true to the process and believe in ourselves that it always works out every single time. And when we get to do that final upload, it's like,
it came
amazing.
Together.
Yeah, it worked, and
came together.
We're so stoked with it. And one major thing is we always want the hosts to love what we do as well. Like we put a lot of heart and soul into every episode, and a crucial part of that is to ensure that the tiny home and any home that we feature, owners or managers of that space are proud and very happy with what we've done with it.
I love that. And I love that you talked about, but I guess it's like trusting in the process, right? And and so many unexpected things I could imagine would come up, and then it's kind of just running with it and adapting. And I know what you're talking about as well. Like you put everything into it and you want to come out with like the best possible thing that you can. I feel like I do that a lot with the podcast too. So I can imagine what it's like as well. A video does bring a whole other new level and a lot more moving parts. So I recognize that, and I can't even imagine how much extra work that goes into all of that. And I think you guys do a really great job, and what you present is so beautiful. And as I mentioned before, like you do bring the essence of each space, and I dare say that each owner or manager of the space would be really happy to see, in the light that you present it. And I'm just curious, like I asked before about like biggest lessons, but I'm wondering, is there anything new that you've learned about each other along the way?
Ooh, good question. Yeah.
I think for me, I've really admired Bronson for, taking on the challenge, and both him and I, we came into this with, we didn't own any of the camera gear. I had never edited on the software that we use to edit our episodes. So Bronson's taken hold of the filming side of things. He's the camera guy, and just seeing the hours of dedication he's put towards just making sure he can film the very best way possible. Yeah, it's just been really cool to see his dedication and commitment, and it's been great to work aside you.
That's so nice. What about you, Bronson?
Very much same. Like I lead the charge when it comes to the videography stuff, but then Zeisha leads the charge in the editing room. So she puts hours and hours of work into that and challenging herself constantly. And the biggest thing is, and I don't want to toot our horn, but we're so dedicated, and we're both so very hardworking, and we both have equal goals in mind to always bring to light the best possible result we can each time and every time.
And that's why it works out so well, is because we do, we truly are a team. I'm surprised. Sometimes I think, oh gosh, how have we managed to do that all on our very own, with our own, bare hands?
Yeah.
But it works. It just works, and that's the magic of it. It just all comes together and it works. And it's been really cool just to see what we've grown. And
it's only the beginning.
Yeah.
We've barely started, and we've got so much more exciting adventures to go.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But yeah, on every every shoot we both go, there's hundreds and hundreds, or not, there's like a few hundreds of different shots to bring a house together.
It's usually about 400 shots, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
400 individual shots, from like all the detail to the wide spaces to us camera facing and all that stuff, and
all our takes, of course.
And all that, yeah.
When we're talking to camera.
Yeah, we're not smooth sailing presenters. Zeisha's definitely the stronger presenter of us two, and sometimes I have to definitely lean on her a lot more.
It's both a skill we've also had to learn on top of the technical side of things and filming and editing. Camera facing is definitely a skill that we're both trying to work on too.
Better. Yeah. And each day, each shoot, it's we're a step closer. But we'll never be there. We'll never be at perfection, because perfection doesn't exist.
Exactly.
We enjoy the ride, and it's exciting times. We love it. From filming to trying to filming to presenting to editing to styling the home as well when we have to do that, to time management, to making sure we do our rain go away dance and and then our sunshine dance, followed by
I love it. Get a bit of a behind the scenes here of how you guys operate and what happens behind the scenes. I love it. Yeah, there's no such thing as perfection. I think it's like an evolving journey, right? And the more that you do it, you get to practice. And I'm curious as well, what brings you guys the most joy when it comes to doing these home tours together?
We're very proud of each other. We both know that we work very hard on each episode. Yeah.
That's nice that's the thing that brings you so much joy. That's lovely.
Yeah. And then also going on that is us learning and evolving as a team as well, is because we're also getting married, aren't we?
Oh, yes, we are. Very soon.
So that's another element of time and stress and stuff that's obviously a very magical journey. But we're flying back to New Zealand, back to our home country, New Zealand, next Friday to
tie the knot.
Finally.
Wow.
Which is exciting for Find the Perfect Place as well, because we're going to have the chance to film while we're in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of episodes lined up over there. We're just praying for the best weather possible.
Amazing. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that brings up another question then. Like, I'm wondering, just doing this project together and going on these different adventures, what has it done for your relationship? If there's anything, I don't know, that you want to share about that. Has it brought you closer together?
I think that we really get the opportunity to share such wonderful experiences with each other, which is, I mean, you just can't really beat it. We've just been traveling to all these little places that we wouldn't have otherwise gone, and creating these memories together, and coming back to the fire pit as an example of, we stayed at our first tiny home actually that did have a fire pit, and we never lit a fire in our adult lives, and we're just kind of both looking around where's the adults? Who's going to do this fire thing? And it's just kind of oh, that's right, okay, well, let's just work as a team and try our very best. And then we did one, and then we were all good. Learned that there's nothing to panic over, and it's actually very simple. But taking on the challenges together like that, and supporting each other even over the small little things like lighting fires, we know that we have each other's support.
Yeah. Zeisha is a master of gathering firewood, foraging for firewood. She absolutely loves it. She gets her gumboots on and she gets herself into the woods, and just comes back with a massive backpack of firewood, and she's like, I'm ready, and she just loves going back out there and getting more firewood.
It's just refreshing to be connected with nature. And it's funny that you bring up the gumboots, Bronson, because we never owned gumboots before this. We live in an apartment and very much city living type thing. So, to be able to buy some gumboots to be out in nature more because of all the rain and wet weather, it was, I don't know, that was special too, as little as it is. It's the small things.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally the small things. And that kind of, I think, ties in a lot with the whole, tiny house way of living and thinking and seeing the world as well. And that's really, really beautiful. And so you mentioned before, so I know that you've been doing tours around Australia, and then when you go home to get married or go back to New Zealand, so you'll be doing some tours there. Are you kind of just keeping it to Australia and New Zealand at the moment, just while you do more tours and expand in what you're doing?
Yes, just at the moment, but we do have quite big dreams of eventually in the hopefully near future to be able to take it further afield, go to Bali or Europe or anywhere where a beautiful state takes us, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is a tricky one because obviously there's the whole world, which is awesome, but also Australia itself has so much to offer. And, with certain restrictions and what have you, originally when we thought of this idea, we're like, it would be great to go over to Bali, and obviously there's extremely cheap stays over there and luxury villas and what have you, but because we weren't really able to do such things when we came up with the idea, it really did give us the opportunity to actually just take a look in our own backyard and to see what is just on our doorstep has just been utterly incredible. And even though they're within a few hours of home, a lot of them you just really feel as though you have been transported to another country or a tropical destination, or the cottage stay, that was really something special and magical.
Oh, Mount Tambourine.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So you just get transported to all of these places, although you're not traveling internationally. It's been really cool to see what's in our neck of the woods, I guess.
Yeah, and there's so much, and you can easily, and I'm quite guilty of this myself. I get carried away and I think quite big, and I'm like, I'd love to go to Europe, or I'd love to go to, Asia and back over to New Zealand and do a bunch of places there. But then it's also like, well, Australia is a big place, and there's a whole lot of homes, from tiny living to mansions to everything. It's like the world is basically our oyster, but we've got to also just be privileged that there's so much to showcase on our doorstep without having to travel overseas just yet. When I say not saying having to, but it's not a mandatory thing to keep on delivering content.
I love that you said that, because I feel like it's probably just like a reflection, or I guess another version of what's been happening collectively all over the world, that it has kind of made us be like, wow, we've actually got so many beautiful places here at home. And I feel like you could probably have, years worth of content just exploring Australia and going to stay in the different homes and trying the different, environments in different parts of the country. And I mean, there's definitely something to be said for traveling around the world and then also just exploring your own in your own backyard. And, speaking of like these perfect places, I am wondering for both of you, what does your perfect place look like, or any specific features that, and maybe, whether it's, if you're thinking about like designing your own tiny home at some stage in the future, or just any kind of space or home that you'd like to live in?
Yeah, definitely a tiny home would be probably the top of our list for our own perfect place.
Yeah.
And there's just so many cool features that we've seen at all the tiny stays that we've been on. One thing that I was feeling, another thing I was feeling a little apprehensive about at first was the outdoor shower and bathroom that we experienced at the tiny boat stay. And it was actually winter at the time we did that. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm probably going to be quite cold. But no, it was the complete opposite. And I loved it so very much that I would highly consider recreating something very, very similar, to call our own and have that experience. Because coming back to our tiled bath white walls, just wasn't quite the same as looking at the beautiful trees at the top of the tin shed type thing. So little features like that, just very homely feeling, and still having all the luxuries of a regular size house, I guess you could say, but just compacting it down. And in terms of layout, I think that it's too hard to kind of determine exactly how we would want our particular tiny home laid out, because there's just so many different ways of doing it, and it's
right.
Cool, you can achieve so much or achieve the same in so many different layouts, or with, there's so many different ideas, which is just so cool. You could research it just forever and ever, like it's really cool to see what people do.
The opportunities are endless when designing your own home, let alone tiny homes. So
I feel like it would be quite the challenge to really knuckle down and be like, right, what do we really want?
Yeah. Actually, Lucy, you said that you were making your own tiny home. How far away is that coming along, and you enjoying it?
Yeah, so it's at the final stages. It's taking a slight bit longer than expected, but I'd say it's probably a couple of weeks away from being finished. So I actually went to the building company, when was it? Yesterday, 2 days ago, just to see the progress and all of that. And because I visited like a little while ago, and I saw the exterior of the home, and now the interior is all coming together, and it's at the final stages, and they're just doing a little bit more timber work. But it's so beautiful, and I'm really excited to be able to share it a bit more. And yeah, the design process was such a fun experience. I mean, it was completely new. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but I worked with the custom designer of the building company, and it's just a really fun experience of like creating something from scratch that really is the essence of you and what you want to, where you spend most of your time and what you want to have in your own space. And so I think you guys would love that experience of doing that. And seeing as though like you've stayed in a bunch of different tiny homes and you're kind of getting all these little ideas along the way, I think that's a really great way to do it, because it's one thing to see all the videos online and the beautiful photos on social media, but when you actually get to go and stay at the places, you can actually be like, oh, is this functional for me? And will this work for us? And what works and what doesn't work, and what you like and what you don't like. So it's really cool. And thank you for asking about that. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, you must be so excited.
It's not long at all.
Yeah, only a couple weeks away. That's amazing. You must be biting at the bit to just get in there. And
yeah, definitely. It's been a long time coming, and I guess like going on this journey of doing the podcast too, and being able to talk to like different people in the space that are already living that way or that are doing interesting things in the tiny house space is been really like a treat, to go along that journey as well. And meeting people like you guys as well, that's actually been one of the best parts, is just like connecting with all the amazing people. And you teased it a little bit before about, you've got some upcoming episodes, maybe you're going to film in New Zealand, but is there anything else any exciting projects coming up for you guys, or anything that you wanted to share about what you're doing with Find the Perfect Place?
Another tiny home's on the way.
Yeah, we've got another tiny home.
Another tiny home tour, which we're really looking forward to. That one's down in New South Wales. So that will be, coming soon. So, yeah, we're so looking forward to it. We've got so much on the cards at the moment. It's hard to know what to put time and energy into. But they're all exciting things. And, we're really looking forward to the next few months. No doubt they're going to fly by in a blink of an eye, because this whole year has, which is crazy. Lots of excitement on the cards to look forward to, and so many beautiful spaces locked in to be a part of our Find the Perfect Place series. So we're so looking forward to it.
It's a never-ending search for the perfect place as well, because we're always looking, and everyone's perfect place is different to them. So hopefully we help people discover their perfect place, or find ideas from a collection of different perfect places that we showcase. So the project side of things, the wedding, filming the couple homes in New Zealand, and then we got another tiny home in Yamba coming up, which is super exciting, and then a few more on the cards after that as well. So it's busy times, but we want it to be busier. But it's time as well. It's this time. It's a juggle, but it's coming. There's going to be a lot more frequent content coming in hot in the future.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing that. And where's the best place that people can come and check you guys out online and watch your videos and maybe just come say hi?
Yeah, absolutely. So best first cue to call would be on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is Find the Perfect Place. We've also got a website, which is findtheperfectplace.com. And there's also our social media handles, which is under Find the Perfect Place, but it's like fnd.theperfectplace. Because
we couldn't get it.
Someone
had it. Oh, damn it.
So searching Find the Perfect Place, people will find us. If people have their own perfect place, be it tiny or mega mansion or something cool that they think they'd love for us to explore, potentially to feature, then they can reach out to us via our website, fill out our form, and we'd love to see what there is, because we're always searching. The search is never ending.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a journey, not a destination, right? And I love how you said that, everyone's perfect place is different, because it's so true. And I think that I love what you guys are doing. And as I said before, I think you capture the essence of each space really well. So, if you're listening to this episode, I'll put all the links in the show notes at tinyhouseconversations.com. Bronson and Zeisha, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing. And it's been really great to get to know a little bit more about you guys.
Thank you so much, Lucy. We're absolutely thrilled and honoured that you would even invite us on your podcast in the first place. So it's a very humbling and lovely experience. So we've really enjoyed talking to you and sharing our story.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you as well. It's been, I love being able to have a platform for people to share their stories. And so it was really great to hear yours. And I'm sure, it'll inspire a lot of people. And I urge everyone, go and check out what Bronson and Zeisha are doing. And if you have, a stay that they can come and film at, if you have your perfect place that you'd love them to come film at, then make sure you get in touch with them. And stay tuned every Thursday for new episodes of Tiny House Conversations. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week. Thanks again for listening. And if you enjoyed the conversation today, you found it valuable, and you want to support the podcast, the best way you can do that is to share the love. That way I can keep bringing you more Tiny House Conversations to help you on your own tiny journey. So here are 3 ways that you can support the podcast. Number 1, if you have a friend or family member that you feel would benefit from hearing these conversations, feel free to share it with them, email them, text them, send them a telegram, do whatever you need to do to share it with them. Number 2, if you hit the subscribe button, you'll know exactly when the next episode is live. And number 3, if you head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to podcasts and leave a 5-star rating and review. Thank you so much in advance. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next episode.